Well, we are live again on this beautiful Thursday from Florida. And of course, I do have short weather reports. As always, it is sunny, it's beautiful, it's warm. It's going to be in the 90s again, and we have a cool breeze. And I get the outside in by opening up the window. So I can see all my plants, my blooming, somewhat blooming mango, my pineapple. I don't smell it yet, but in in a little while. We have with us, of course, Sara from Virtuous Unicorns. And oh my gosh, as usually, I forget to say my own name. My name is Toni Weel. And we have with us Miss Joanne, as her kindergarten students used to call her. And I'm very pleased and excited actually to have her on. We spoken a little while ago and for a while, and we started talking about all kinds of things. And she started talking about her career as a kindergarten teacher. And I learned that she interacts with the children so much different than what we probably personally experience, if we can even remember that, or what we experience with our own children. And I was actually in a total awe, because I've been thinking for a long time is like, how can we get something out? What do we really need to teach our children? And even on the new website or social platform that I worked on, gardenofeden.social, it was like, there has to be a section about, what should we really, really teach our children? What do kids need to know? Because when we look at right now, we see so many entitled teenagers that it's getting a little crazy, and they are not learning what is really, really important in life to live a happy and a healthy life. And that is where we, as grandparents, parents, teachers, actually come in. And so I first told Joanne, my God, you need to write this down. She was like, okay, I'm going to commit to that. So we spoke yesterday and talking about what that she was going to write it down, and what she already got. And I was like, oh my gosh, she needs to come on the podcast with us and talk about it. Because when you get Joanne talking, there's no stopping. She had so much to share. So welcome, Miss Joanne.
Thanks a lot, Toni, for having me. Well, I can stop when I start, but I do get passionate. That's the thing. So once I start, if I get passionate, I may go on for a while, but do not hesitate to interject at any time.
We will do that. So what is it that you actually realized that what you were, because I'm sure you started out as a teacher as everybody else, or would you say that from a young age you already knew what was wrong with the system and how things had to be different?
Well, I knew that there was a lot wrong with this system. Like, I didn't fit. Like, for me, money made no sense, for instance, and for that reason, I had to study that for a while and ended up becoming a stockbroker before I became a teacher. I did that for about 10 years. I knew that early on as a child, I knew I was not my body. I knew my consciousness was way bigger than what I was experiencing here. I knew that I was sort of helping myself from a larger perspective in this 3D reality. So I knew, and I know, that what I am is consciousness. And so this, to me, is the most important thing that the children have to become aware of. That's number one. And it's easier for them to get that, for instance, because when we speak, we say, like, we have a body, so we are not it. And for them, this is so obvious. It may not be so for some adults who haven't identified with their body and really what the body image was projecting. They really were, I was going to say manipulated to really focus on that. But it's easy with the 5-year-olds. It's so easy for them to get basics like that. And it's the work is for them just to be as conscious as possible of themselves, the environment, and discover what they truly like, how they truly feel. This is really the basic.
And how would you say, would it be, because I know you mentioned yesterday, it's not only the kids, it's us adults too, and we learning it probably in a later life. Would you see that, I don't know how much contact you had with the kids later on, that there is actually a difference in their being and their behavior?
Yes, of course. When we're told that it's until the age of 7, they're like in a different state. They're in the theta kind of that theta state. They're like in a hypnosis kind of thing, and absolutely everything that is going on is registered with them. And when they focus on something, boy, do they ever focus. They are there. They're present. I mean, I have to teach them time, they don't know about it. So to let them know that the way we calculate it is a way that we invented, like the calendars, there are many of them. And this is the type of thing I would teach that others may not. And for instance, that there are no countries. This is also an invention. There are no lines anywhere. The reality of it is this is a construction of human beings. So I tell this to 5-year-olds. So I feel like that way they know more of reality. I'm trying to focus on what's real. And actually, they have been really good teachers for me, because that's what they do naturally. They don't know about our illusion yet. They're in reality, and they are deeply in this 3D. And I don't want them to get out of it. I was taking them outside as much as I could. And I mean, I was steering them away from all the screens as much as possible, because these screens are really an illusion. And when they stumble onto it, and they may have a hard time getting out of it if they get into that very, very young. And so that's part of what my consciousness was letting me know. You better do your best to have as many kids as possible in reality, and be aware of their own consciousness of everything. And so the work that I need to do, and that us adults need to do with the children, is just be available, be with them, and just steer them sometimes to maybe pay more attention to something. But of course, if we don't ourselves pay attention to any of it, how could we help them out? You have to yourself be aware of your own consciousness to help them out. But it's two-way, because the kids will help you a lot if you just allow yourself to be with them. At first, when I started as a teacher, I was trying to plan, and I had like, you have pictures because they don't read, and you put the pictures up, and this is what we'll do, and then we'll do that, this, and that. And my gosh, for me, after just a few months, I mean, these pictures I never put them up anymore, because I kept changing them around the whole day, because something was happening and I was in the moment with them, and I wanted to just look at this spider that was in the room, or whatever was happening. And I was not just killing a spider and wanting to go on with whatever we were doing, drawing or whatever. So to me, it was, there's no planning, just being with them. And the only planning I would do would be the type of exploration I would offer them. But I didn't know when I was going to offer them because it depended on the weathers, if we were going to be able to go out or not. So, but I had things prepared. I'm not going to say planned because planning would imply some timing in my mind. So it's it's prepared because maybe in order to do some artwork, we need some physical things. So I prepare it for the number of children that is in my class, the colors I want them to work with, whatever. I prepare that, it's there. And when when the time comes, when it's proper, then I will have them do that. I also offer a lot of different things, and they're free to pick from those things. And that way they get to learn who they are, because they get to try everything. I sort of force them to try everything at least once, but then they're really free to pick whatever they want. I mean, if the kid at 5 already loves letters and is already starting to write, because I've seen that, I'll let the kid write. If the other one only wants to construct things, well, that's what they'll do. And I have no problem with that. And that's how we should be treating humans. I think if you're good at something, we should encourage you to be the best at that for as long as you want, as long as you like doing that. And of course, you may change at any time and want to learn something else and become very good at something else as well. So I respected that very much. And only in kindergarten could you do that. In grade school, I mean, I was so, it was very sad to see them, unknowing that, because at the end of kindergarten, they simply loved coming to school with me. But I was aware that the next year they had to sit, that it was going to be completely different. I mean, school was not at all what they had experienced in kindergarten. So I was always sad when I saw them leave at the end of the year for that reason. But boy, had they ever changed, and were they aware of so many things, and they were so smart. And I mean, they went back home with all kinds of things, and the parents were always really glad of what the kids were becoming when they were with me. So my job was not planning anything, preparing some things, and just be with them 5 hours a day for 10 months. That was my job. Yeah. But I couldn't be able to do it now because it's become crazy in the schools. And we now have these the drags coming in, reading those stories of little boys wanting to change into little girls and becoming women. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't be around for that. I'm going to go. I mean, I'm going to get mad. And I know that I can be violent. Okay, I am someone that could kill. There's just no way. I cannot set foot in a school. I'd be dangerous. I might get criminal charges. I'm telling you, I know myself well enough to know that this might be such a trigger that I may be dangerous. So I'm out of there.
Yeah, I think when it comes to it, and when we have to defend ourselves, we are lions. I absolutely do believe that. And I saw that video about what was it, Naked Truth in the Netherlands. I had seen one years ago where they had these young children the Netherlands, and that's my home country. I mean, I left it 20 years ago, and I never want to go back. But they had a few years ago already in that same show, they had these young kids, and then the men and women came up, and then all sizes. And then they dropped their clothing or towel, whatever they had on, and then they showed them in all their nakedness. In Holland, that will be all visible right on TV. They would blur things out. There they don't. Do we need to expose our children to it? I think the children can learn from their parents, how a person looks. I mean, even when I was growing up, my parents didn't hide their nakedness or thought it was dirty or something. So I never did for my daughter, neither did her father. But to put it onto TV and now to have it as a class for kids, and I'm like, this is just crazy. Now, what they apparently recently did is get transgenders on that show. And then the transgenders talked about what needed to be done to change their gender, what they had to do physically, etc. And these are what the kids are exposed to now. I mean, it is too crazy for words. And then we automatically come to the point of, what you mentioned is like you kind of prepare in those 10 months more of the kids, who they are, what their passion, natural passion is, not a made up passion that you seem to have otherwise or else. And but it is only 10 months, and then they have to be in that whole school regime and in where you only repeat what others tell you is the truth, and it's not a reality anymore. It is it's a farce, it's a forced reality. So I am really about, the homeschooling or community schooling where parents start up something themselves is what we did as, I was a young parent in 71. And yeah, imagine my daughter is going to be 52 this year. Anyway, so we were like, no, we're not going to do that schooling. It's like what I had to submit myself to. I was like, I'm not going to do that to my child. So you start something else. And I think that is where we come in as parents, as groups, to get away from that whole school system. And I think that is what we actually need to fight for. Because they always say the children are the future, but nowadays with the way that they have been and still are indoctrinated, it's a scary thing.
Absolutely. One of my teachings for the 5-year-olds. Oh, you want to go, Virtuous Unicorn? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah, we can't hear you. You're cutting in and out.
Okay.
Now you're good. And maybe it may be on my end. So if let me know if you, Katie, Sue, can you hear Sarah well? Because I have internet issues.
Can everyone hear me?
I cannot.
Okay. I'll call her again.
All right.
All right. So in the meantime, I can share with you what I do teach about. Well, the thing is about anything relating to sexuality, it had to come from the kids. It had to be a question they had. And it was just 1, 2, 3 of them, not the whole class. So not because 1 or 2 or 3 have some questions that you will have to address this with the whole group. So, and one of the things I would teach everyone though, and it related to biology, was that a boy was XY, and this was written in all of their cells. Cells are something I talked about. And also that the girls were XX. So no matter what, every one of your cells was XX, and you could not change that. That's genetics, and it's not changeable. This is how you were created. So, I mean, I know they can have so many different influences throughout their lives, but I also know that whatever is put in their minds, in their hearts, before the age of 7 is always there for them to reach and to get access to. So that's my hope, that whatever they got from me, they'll be able to access at any time, and hopefully it will help them stand up to this craziness that's going on around right now. Because they know also that the only person that knows who they are is themselves. So they cannot be, well, if they got the lesson well, they cannot be defined by anything else but themselves. They're the only ones knowing who they are, and that is what they think and how they feel, what's in their head and what's in their heart. They're the only ones able to truly access that. Anybody else is only, they're presuming, and presuming is something really, we have to be very, very careful with that, because presuming is what starts the wars. Really, all kinds of difficulties will stem from presuming and actually being wrong in your presumption. Are you there, Toni?
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay. So that's another big one, knowing that you're the only one who truly knows yourself. And it's your job to truly know yourself too, is basically.
Absolutely. But what happens is that I cannot remember a lot from when I was 5 years old. I do remember I could read before I went to grade school, but I cannot remember who taught me. Somebody must have taught me.
Mhm.
And but I don't remember that. And but I was a very introvert child, and that is also about how your surroundings already were. You know, they were not with what you did those 10 months with the children. And but still, I think that you give them the basics, the grounding to move on. That's very true. Have you had contact with these children later on?
Well, when COVID started, I actually started to get in touch with them, some of them, because, and actually I focused on those that were adults. So there was no problem contacting them. And I actually just, well, I could have reached a lot more, but I reached the one that was the most problematic child I had ever had in my class. I mean, I'd seen him throw a chair at least 3 times during the year. And yeah, I can still be in contact with that guy, and he is okay. He's now 19. But yeah, I could do a lot more. This is something I want to do, to reach out to them. And this is a dream of mine from them, because, oh, there's, I don't know if you hear that, but there's a bit of noise around me right now. It's like the circus going by.
No, I don't really hear it.
Oh, no. Oh, it's coming closer.
No, we
You
can't
didn't hear anything. It's very noisy.
No.
Okay, so
we don't
okay,
hear
good
it.
then. Good then. My microphone is only picking my voice up. That's good. That's a test, because I'm outside of the house and this was passing in the
Okay.
street. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah. So I was saying, yeah, it's a dream of mine to have these kids in contact with me if they want to, and we could I mean, create all kinds of things together. I feel like I truly, well, they know themselves more than I can know them. But what I have known, discovered from them at the moment that I spent time with them is truly who they are. And in fact, I used to tell the parents the first time I met them individually in the fall, that I already knew this and that about the child. And I reinforced that throughout the year, what I was finding out. And that these are things that the parents should write down somewhere and truly remember for their kids, because as they will grow up and, you know, be submitted to all kinds of influences, when they become adolescent, they may forget who they are, because so many changes are going on at that point in their own body as well. So the truly who they are, they express, I think, in at a very young age, and we are able to remind them, and that could be really helpful when they're really trying to decide what to study or what career or whatever they want to do in their life. We know what their natural talents are, and if they've forgotten about it, they can go back to them and maybe try that out again and rediscover who they are. So yeah, that's yeah, getting in touch. Okay, my dream, I mean, I see huge celebrations of people getting together, and truly they are really, really glad. There is a lot of joy, true joy, of getting back together and doing things together. And I don't see myself as being very, very hands-on active. That's not, I'm not going to build things really with my own hands, but I am an antenna that get a lot of ideas that are not meant for me to do because I get too many. And I finally, when I was an adult, found out that because it was a pressure on me, I got so many ideas. And I've always felt at first that I had to do them all, but it's not possible. So ideas are there for you to, as an antenna, pick up on them if you can. If you're meant to, you will. And then as you pick up on those ideas, you either act on them or not, depending on really what the circumstances are. But ideas are just there, and when it's time for them to become real in 3D, someone will do it. If not you, someone else, but it might be you that is called to do it. So, but I'm just I really bring down a lot of ideas, but they're not meant for me. So I would love to have some of the kids I worked like that I taught as a kindergarten teacher to be in touch with me and to be activated to do things that I'm not going to do myself, but that they might be that they might have the energy to do and the motivation.
I see that Sarah is back on. Sarah,
Yes.
let's try again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, good. I was running a little behind, so I was just on my phone before and thought I could just do it from my phone, but I guess not. But anyway, I just wanted to say that I do have a son in the public school system, but as I've said before, he has special needs, so he's not, I'm sure there is a certain point of indoctrination going on for him, but they mainly just focus on, learning how to brush your teeth, learning cooking basics. They learn life skills more than anything else. But yeah, I think we were talking about before about the transgender and stuff like that in the school. We've never had any experiences like that, to my knowledge, in our whole school system. So we're very fortunate, I think, as to where we do live. I feel like we live in a more conservative area, but I'm sure everybody is there in our community. But I just wanted to say too that, it is definitely our responsibility to make sure that our children and other children are, being treated with respect and not, to be bluntly, I do not think that any child should be taught any kind of sexual education in a public setting in the first place. Even in health school, when I was in school, health class, I don't think it was up to the school to have taught us that kind of stuff in the first place. I think it should be up to the parents and how the parents want to handle it on an individual basis. All kids they mature differently. They react to things differently. There's just all kinds of different levels. And I don't think it should be on a public platform or public anything that it teaches children that way. And I do think that children should only be responsible for being children and learning kindness and learning the things about them. And, violence should always be only in a defense scenario in the first place. And if you do see stuff like that, yes, we all get very enraged by that kind of stuff, but It's just being involved in your child's life in their school to see what is actually being taught to them. And if you disagree with it, then you can take a stand by pulling your child out of school. You can homeschool, or like Toni said, you can form community school. And that's a way that we can all take a stand together and still do it through kindness and lead by example.
Yeah, definitely the best way is to take the children out of there. But you know that so many parents all work, and I mean, the school is like a daycare, right?
It is.
Yeah. So they don't know what to do with their kids.
Mhm.
And I know of many states that they've taken the parental rights from the parents, actually. Many parents are not even aware of it. I say states, but I know about provinces, possibly states. When I say states, it applies more to like United States, but provinces in Canada for sure. So as a parent, you basically have no rights. Your children are not yours already. So for any reason that the authorities may like, they can take them away from you. Right now, that's the case in Canada. In some provinces, I don't know about all of them, but this is very scary. So even if you want to take them out of school, they really want to have a hold on your child. You still have to do you got to go through hoops, and you got to go through tests with your children every year and everything to make sure that. But that's easy. That's kind of easy if you're the least bit able to teach them what they're learning in school, because what they're learning in school, which they will evaluate them on, it's so easy to learn, and in your house they can learn it so much faster than they would learn it in school. So really, with your children at home, you would have a lot more time to do all kinds of very interesting things and useful things. And what you mentioned, Sarah, that your child was learning, actually, the regular classes should be learning that, and they're
Yes,
not.
they should. They should.
But
Instead,
at
they're
home,
being-
they would.
Yes, for sure. I mean, there's so many homeschool programs too, and one that I've followed it, and I have purchased some of their books. It's called The Good and the Beautiful. It's all online. I believe it is like a Christian based, but they make it to where there is no I don't know, like in the books, like the father is never looked as negatively. It is, everything is just, they look at so many different angles of everything just to make sure that it is just good and wholesome for the most part. And it's all online, so you don't even have to really sit down and teach your child. Or they also have where they'll send all the books to your home and you can walk through it on a basis. So there's different levels, but as a community as a whole, I think if there's major issues in your area with your schools, other parents are going to be feeling this way too. And you really just need to reach out to your community and see if you can get other people on board and maybe start like a community type of school, and just really schools that have good morals. And I think that's where we need to go in the future, is just have more private schools. I understand money is a factor for a lot of people, but there's always got to be a way. And the more of this path I'm on, the more people I find that want to volunteer their time to help and do things. So I think if we all start changing our mindset that way and really pulling together, we can really make the world a beautiful place that it should be. And it starts with our children, 100%. They're our future.
When my daughter was going into grade school, we set up the Rudolf Steiner School. And of course, a private school, but everybody paid to what they could pay. So it was a percentage of your income. So you had a low income, you paid much less. And I thought that was a fair way of doing it. So everybody had a chance to join that school.
Yep.
We have Katie now on too.
One more
Katie,
thing I just wanted to
oh,
chime in
sorry.
real quick, Tony, before Katie gets started. I did mention the good and the beautiful, which I will put a post on there. They
Good.
still teach everything that has to be taught, but you're the one directing it. So I'm not 100% on board with that. Because that's still kind of, the indoctrinating of what they want us to know, but it is, at least it's coming from you, and you don't have to worry about anybody putting a twist on it that you're uncomfortable with. But I'll put a link on there if anybody does want to look through it as well too.
Oh,
But, yep,
absolutely.
that's all I had to
Great.
say.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Hi, Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Hi, everyone. I'm trying to figure out how to work my video thing here.
Oh, I just stopped it. And
Oh, fantastic.
you were
Thank you.
you were upside down and you were sideways, and I was like, I'm not sure if that is what she wants.
No, I don't know why. I'm on my phone and I couldn't get it to switch off, but I'm like getting ready because I just got done exercising and out of the shower before 11 o'clock. And I was like, oh, needs to see me like this. So thank you so much for taking good care of me once again. Joanne, it's so fun to have you here. Thank you so much for sharing today. This is just beautiful.
Thank you. As far as what Sarah just said, I was thinking, if from the earliest age we have our children exercise some critical thinking and always relating to who they are, no matter, they may not agree with you parents. I think they would be good to face absolutely anything thrown their way. If they truly learn to respect themselves and they are good, I can tell you, I've not met anyone bad at 5 years old. There is no such thing. There are kids that will try things, see how that goes. They may do a bad thing, and some will do it on purpose just to see what the karma will be. And so they have to learn early on that to choose right, and then to be critic of everything that's thrown at them. And that way, they may make mistakes, because we all do. Sometimes some things coming to us are so the evil is disguised in so many ways that I don't know anyone that has not fallen for it in one way or another. So, but we have to recognize it, and as soon as we do, we have to be good to ourselves first, and forgive ourselves first, and forgive anyone. We're in the era of forgiveness. That's what I think now.
Yes, for sure. No, it's beautifully said. Everybody knows right from wrong. And sometimes we just need guidance as we're making our way through our journey. And we need good people like you to help guide the little ones.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to remember, these young children, they're just like blank slates, or like a human sponge. So they're just absorbing everything that we're putting out there, and they're watching us. And, that's why that thing is, do as I say, don't do as I do. That's how impressible they are. But when we're trying to do good, we make mistakes, and that's not what we want our children to do, which is where that quote kind of comes from. But yes, they're just absorbing it all. And we have to be very mindful of what we really are truly teaching them at such a young age.
Well, the doing and being versus the saying isn't much with the young children. It's your being with them, and how you are is the way you teach the most. So no matter what type of school they go to, or if you're schooling with a curriculum at your own school, that's one thing. But nothing can, there has to be time to be with the proper adults, just being with them in the garden, being with them, going to shop, being with them, no matter cooking with them, whatever, really being with them, reading together, whatever. So just being with them, just lying down and holding each other. Yeah, this teaches a whole lot more than the words.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Your actions speak louder than words. And yeah, you have to, yeah. And you know what? That's what kids these days crave. They don't want the best thing. They just want to spend time with you. And I'm sure I'm not alone that's the way all I wanted to do was be with my parents. And it was like, it didn't always happen because somebody had to work or somebody, because there was 4 of us, somebody took that time away from me to be one-on-one with my mom or one-on-one with my dad. And it is what it is. But I think we just need to prioritize, look at our values, and make our children our priority, and make sure that we're spending at least a little bit of one-on-one with each one of them. Hopefully every day, but if not every day, every other day, please. So yes.
The one-on-one is a thing. You're right. It is very much appreciated by children. And of course, we all craved it and didn't get enough of it. But the being with your children as a group too is very powerful, really. Playing a game with them, for instance.
Yep. It's just the quality time that you get to spend with them.
Yes.
And but that's the other thing too. It's made it so hard when both parents are working. All the children are in sports. There's so many distractions, and they just keep us so busy that we cannot really focus on what is really important. There's so many parents that come home from school. They have to run their children this and that. And then they have to come home, still make dinner, still get ready for bed. And so where does that time come in where we can actually really sit down and be with the children? I remember when I was in school, you had like Friday night games for varsity, and the rest of the games were just through the week. We never had to go to sports on Saturday and sometimes even Sunday. And I even, with my nephew, when he was in school, he had practice sometimes at 8 o'clock at night. And it's now because, one, all the students get to participate in sports if they want to. So they have multiple sessions of basketball, multiple different games where it's not, I guess you have to try out anymore for the team. But they just made it so complicated where everything just needs to be brought back to center and made more simply.
You're touching on something here, the sports and everything and the music or whatever, and this and that, and the children are pushed to do all kinds of things that they may not even want to do. I learned a little piano, which I didn't want to learn, but I did because my mom wanted me to learn. I did that for 1 year, and this was so funny because the thing I really wanted to do was figure skating, and I did that too. But figures, in order to do the figure skating, I had to take like some of my mom's allowance that she was getting for me, and I made a deal that I would use it for that, and so I had some money for that way. And after 1 year of piano as well, forced, both my parents came and sat me down and said, well, Joanne, you're going to have to make a choice. I mean, I probably laughed and I said, well, I'm going to figure skate, So what the thing is, you be behind whatever the child truly wants to do. We see too many parents wanting their children to, trying something, like doing it to see if you like it is one thing, but being pushed to do something when you truly know that you're not interested in that and you don't want to do that. And on the other hand, if you really are attracted and want to do something else, it's obvious. Why don't you go along with the child? I'm just saying there are many ways maybe to get some time, free time from your children if they don't have so many of those activities that they may not even like that much, I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you see the future of school going, or how do you plan on contributing your gnosis that you have for the education system?
Well, I thought I would go online first and just share the basics that came up as being what the young children, because these are the ones that I've truly known the best, and those formative years are so important. And so I will try to tackle that part of it. And what I'm thinking is, I personally, I don't, at this moment, I don't need to make money online. So I can write things, share things, speak, and I don't need to ask for any money from anyone. So I feel really free. And it's just so basic that, yeah, I will come up with some exercises that may be able to help in one or another area. But this is not what I have to share. Maybe sometimes well, if I had someone with me able to film me in my life, if there were cameras checking me out, I mean, on me all the time, this would be like all those little kids checking me every day. There's so many little things I do. I express intelligence in all sorts of ways throughout the day. Right now, well, I'm affectionate with cats right now. That's all I have around me. But the way I handle things is just, I've been sharing me with those children. But from that, and from them sharing themselves with me, there are a few basic things, and there are not that many. So, but these basic things, if we can, as adults that will be around children, just do our best to instill that into them, to help them know and respect who they are, and ultimately it's called love. I think we've done our job, and the rest is details. What they will be truly interested in, will they be really good at counting or writing or reading or whatever, or not? They'll be physical. It doesn't really matter. If they truly respect what they are, the world will be good. If they take care of themselves well, I mean, their conscience is their consciousness will be clear. So this world will be good. They won't be able to live. I mean, they'll auto-correct automatically all the time. And they won't worry so much about the others. I mean, you can only, if they are what they are, others around them will emulate them. And so it will grow like that. But that's how I see it. I don't see myself as creating something at this moment anyway, very structured or anything, except for the really the basic things. Yeah.
I would like to add something about the time that the one-on-one time that we can spend with our kids. And I think the best way is always to do that, not to, just be with them. But when you do certain chores together, and of course, being a detox specialist and doing counseling about what to eat and how to become healthy, I mean, we definitely have to start with our children. And I hear so many times that children don't want to eat something. And I thought, well, children are naturally curious. They want to see, Miss Joanne went into that too, is this is how they learn. They want to see what is going on, and you prepare things that are healthy for them and how beautiful it can look and make creative things. They want to eat it. And that is the same with growing food. I know that even a lot of schools, and I believe those were actually public schools, and I know of one in Washington, DC, it may even have been one where they started that they have their own garden that the kids maintain, and then every so often when there is enough food, they prepare it and eat it. And I think that is a big part of the education too, and those are what you already mentioned, Sarah, is life skills, is what they're teaching, for your son at school. But to me, it's like it should be part of schooling from a very young age already, because this is the basics of a healthy and a happy life.
I'll give you an example of what happened to all of my classes is that we got snacks almost every day of the week. And those snacks were sometimes fruit, but very often they were more like cookies and some kind of dough thing, okay, which I would not have. And so what happened with all of my classes, when we got apples, for instance, all the apples would get eaten. But when we got cookies, not so much. Whereas with all the other classes, it was the opposite. The apples would be left over there. The kids would not eat them, but they would eat all the cookies. And I remember having people come into my class, knocking on my door with a piece of birthday cake, and my kids would all say, no, she's not eating that. But I would still take it, say thank you, as I taught them, a gift is a gift. You receive it and then you do whatever you want with it. So you can just throw it away if you want, then it's yours, but you accept it graciously. This is one of my teachers, so I will accept it. And you know what? Some of the kids really wanted to eat that cake. So I would draw and one kid would eat it, one piece of cake is not killing someone. So, but basically they learned with me that I was having lots of fruits and veggies. And sometimes I came with veggies or fruits they didn't know and wanted to try it. So I shared, and I sort of knew that was going to happen. So I had more of that. And then they'd go back home and request such a fruit or such a vegetables from their parents. And the parents told me about that because they found that so funny, right? That the kid was wanting such a thing. Like, Mom, I really want cucumbers for my snack, because I had been having that the past week or something. So yeah, what we do, very, very, very important. It impresses on them. And also they could see that like the other teacher that, for instance, were sharing the cake or whatever, they were overweight. They were not moving much. I was not, and I was moving with them outside. I was playing with them. I was 45 when a kid in my class, because they always ask you, do you have children? Well, I don't. I've never had my own children. So they always ask that question. And at that question, at that time, I, of course, answer, no, I don't have my own. You're my children. And this other girl was looking at that one and went, well, how could you think that? She's too young to have children. And I was 45. So in her mind, I would not fit the profile because all the adults having had children didn't look like me. Or didn't act like me, like sitting on the floor with them almost the whole day, or doing things at the park that they're not even able to do, right? But yeah,
children are always observing us too, and that's just amazing that they were so drawn to your light and your energy, and that they just pick up on it, like you just said.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't
and
eat
I would tell them I am 45, but for them 45 doesn't mean a thing when you're 5, but it's in there, it's getting in there, because I know, like you say, they're sponges. So this woman, my kindergarten teacher, was 45, and they all say, then usually one goes, oh, 45 is young, because of they equate 45 with what they have in front of them, right?
So. Exactly. Oh, that's
so you give them
story.
a picture of youth as being something that could be carried on for a long time. Yeah.
Guys, we are getting at the top of the hour, and I had a few questions that I would like to answer. And what was about was actually for Sarah. Because you were talking about our hair, and you recommended using a paddle brush. And Katie was wondering why a paddle brush versus a different kind of brush.
I mean, just in my experience, I did read it somewhere, but I cannot gather it. But in my experience, when I use a paddle brush, it's just more of like a rectangular shape, and it does cover more of your head. And I think it just really distributes any of the oils, the natural oils you might have from your scalp to the rest of your hair a little bit easier than, say, one of those wet brushes or the ones that don't have the I don't know, like the 1980s brushes, those kind of brushes. I can't think of what they are, but like if the bristles don't move with your scalp when you press into it. So with my paddle brush, I have a pretty big one. I think I got it from Aveda many, many years ago, probably like 15 years ago. And when you like press on it, you can like hear the air kind of come out of it a little bit too. So you can really kind of press down and then pull it through your hair. And it just really distributes everything really nicely. It leaves your hair almost like silky too, because I do have those smaller ones that I'll carry like in my purse or something, because I do have long hair and it gets really ratty when I'm like in the wind or in the car window down or something. And that definitely does not distribute anything throughout my hair. So at nighttime and in the morning, I use my paddle brush. And then throughout the day, I'll use one of those smaller ones just to get tangles out.
Okay, well, that was a good answer, and I'm going to look into a
Thank
paddle
you.
brush.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just like a rectangle brush. It's
Yeah.
just big. Yep.
I had never heard the word even. It's like, okay, a brush is a brush.
Mm-hmm.
And
If I
we
can
used
find it, I'll
to,
post it.
yeah, we used to, you had these, well, with these plastic things, and then you have the one that looks like hair, the softer ones.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, next question was, grape juice is the most detoxing fruit juice. It leaves your mouth very dry. Apple juice does the same for me. Is apple juice also very detoxing? Also, why does apple juice cause my stomach to be upset? The first thing that you need to look at is, are all the pesticides removed? Because actually apple juice is the most easiest on your body, and it is absolutely great for detoxing and for your liver and gallbladder. If it's upset your stomach, don't use it. You may want to see if you can actually, before you juice, take the what is it called? Take the outside off. I can't remember the word for peel it,
Mm-hmm.
peel the apple. Yeah, but I have not experienced it, and I do wash everything in baking soda and what is it? Not filtered water, but okay, I'm drawing a
Distilled
blank.
water. Distilled water.
Yes, there you go. Distilled water. The blanks today. So that is and always listen to your body. If you have something that is not feeling well, then the first look at, okay, did I have the right apples? Could there be pesticides on it? Did I wash them well? If you did all that and you still have the same problem, then don't use it for a while. And try it again sometime, and maybe in a lesser amount. I heard from a client who said that his whole body got upset because he had lettuce. And I thought, my God, lettuce is so light, it shouldn't be a problem. But he had a whole lot of lettuce. And yeah, if you have been on all fruit for quite some time and you add that to it, all of a sudden, your body gets a little shocked. And I think we do that too often. And there is definitely less is more, is better. Not don't do too much. Don't think, if it's good, then a lot more must be even better. It doesn't work that way. So just try it out. Her other question was, and these are all Katie's. Katie's always having questions, and I love it. When you start detoxing and you are going too fast because you feel miserable, how do you slow it down? You always start slow with the detoxing. That is one important thing. Not from, you know, the next day and now I'm in a full detox mode with all fruit or fruit juices or water fast. So always go slow. But if you need to slow it down because you get feelings of anxiety, then you can slow it down with a banana, with an avocado, with a steamed sweet potato, and some steamed veggies. So that does work. And you have to try out what works best for you. Next question was, do either of you have a favorite brand for oil pulling, and where do you get yours? Well, I'll let Sara answer in a minute. Mine, when I did the oil pulling, was organic coconut oil, and I got those actually from not Costco, but the other one. I haven't been there in months, so, but it is, you know, you can buy that everywhere. But get a good organic coconut oil if you want to do the oil pulling.
I use coconut oil as well when I have in the past. I can't even begin to tell you when I've done it last. As you all know, I'm a big baby on a bunch of things. I hate it. So I don't do it. You know, I can't. The parsley juice is hard. The oil pulling's hard.
Yeah, but you know, the parsley juice is only for you know,
temporary, yes.
Yeah, for a short time.
Yes.
And her last question was, do dates dehydrate you? Well, right now I am on all fruit and have been for a few weeks. And once in a while, I feel like I just need to snack on something. And it is often a nice, juicy date. I have not noticed that they particularly dehydrate me, but you know, it is a slightly dehydrated fruit. So you want to make sure that you drink a bit more. And people say you got to soak them first so that they hydrate again. But then I get mushy dates and I don't like it. So I drink the water separate from the dates. So that's what I do. Katie, you're still online or on the Zoom call, so you can step in and see if that answered your questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, I was just typing in the chat and I was just saying, okay, Sara, so what I'm hearing you say about oil pulling is that it's absolutely not 100% necessary to do it for my detoxing because, and it makes me kind of excited that you haven't done it in a long time because I'm a texture kind of person. And honestly, the thought of putting oil in my mouth makes me cringe. And so if I don't have to do it, I don't want to do it.
That's the way I feel too. It just, I can't, even back when I used to use like mouthwash and stuff, they say you're supposed to like swish it around for so long. I could never do that. I could put it in my mouth and then spit it back out. So I'm such a, I don't know, a taste person and a texture like that too. I just can't do it. So definitely, you know, like floss your teeth if something's in there. Sometimes I get grape skin stuck in there, but always be so gentle on your gums. I know they say a lot like you got to toughen them up and things like that, but you don't. Just be gentle on your gums the same as you are gentle on your body, and be gentle to your teeth. And even when I am wiping them off, I imagine like I'm just polishing them up basically. And you're just taking care. You don't want to use anything hard on them. You don't want to hurt your gums. I don't know if we ever talked about this, but I will like I have a tongue brush, I guess is what it's called. And I'll still use that here and there. But yeah, I mean, simple is always best.
Yes, the only thing I've been doing is only flossing if something's stuck between my teeth. But then other than that, I'm just basically using like a really thin baby washcloth because a regular washcloth is too big for my mouth. So if you get the baby size, and I just like gently rub my teeth and clean them that way. I don't use toothpaste anymore, and I use a tongue scraper. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's good. I did just see that Dave posted in there. Dave is an RN in LA and he works with children, and he said that's near and dear to his heart. This whole show has been. And Dave, I didn't know that you were an RN, and I think that's so wonderful that we have people like you in that field working with our children too and helping them. Dave posts so many wonderful things on Facebook. He's always pretty active in all of our chats and Charlie's chats, and he always has so much positivity. I mean, you can basically feel his positivity radiating from his comments even, and we're so blessed to have people like you working in those areas, and thank you for all you do. I do have one more other thing we talked about last week, which was cleaning. And I did post, like I did tell Katie about this and we talked about it. But I totally forgot that I have a steamer. I use a Dupree steamer. Actually, I just got this one for Christmas and haven't used it yet, but I've always had like a smaller kind of handheld steamer. But this one, you're supposed to be able to steam your furniture, steam your carpets, your floor, your windows, like everything, even your bathroom. So really, you're only cleaning your house with steam and water. You're not using any chemicals. You don't have to use vinegar. You don't have to use anything. So I was imagining this around. I know that Joanne, you talked about that you're surrounded by kitties. Well, Tony and I are both big kitty lovers. I have 19 and I forget how many you have, Tony, but
I have 4 now. I
Four?
haven't taken, yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
taken any more in.
yeah, but I know you have in the past. So definitely
yeah.
steam cleaning the
that-
floor around the litter
True.
boxes is going to be nice.
And that was before the steam cleaner. I have because when we mentioned that, it's like, did you now finally unpack your steam cleaner and started using it, or still not?
No, I'm going to
Ah.
this week though.
Okay. Well, I have been using it for
Yeah.
2 years now, every week. And I do the floors all over my house. I haven't used it for anything else. I could. It has just been for the floors. And we usually had weird, but if there was a flea explosion with the cats, it was always January, February. This year, nothing. The cats do have fleas once in a while. And but it is one or a few here and there. It's not like it used to be that you could actually, that they jumped on your skin or that you could see that. Now I want to say, if anyone ever has to deal with a flea explosion, there is an amazing way without any chemicals to catch hundreds of them. And that is put out everywhere, little cups, cups, soup cups even, with hot water, and you place them on the floor. You will be amazed what you will see in there the next day. And I know a lamp was mentioned. Lauren mentioned that, I think, and I have one, and I mentioned, I think last week, the cat even slept on it and there was no flea in it. But those little bowls with hot water, and it doesn't even matter. Eventually it cools out. It's still, the water still attracts the fleas. So that helps enormously. Yeah,
Awesome.
that is, you have the same Dupree steamer as I do.
Yep.
And it is not even expensive, and it is it's
on sale right now too.
I'm sorry?
It's 50% off right now too.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And I have somebody who comes in and helps me cleaning at times, and she was so amazed by it that she bought one herself, to do her work. So it is it's easy to use. And they don't tell you that you can use tap water in it. I don't. I only use distilled water in it, because we know that, and even now, I just recently have a whole house filter, so to remove all the hardness in the water. But often, and I have tap water here, oftentimes the tap water is very hard and not good for things like that.
Yeah. We
So-
always from when I was a kid, distilled water in any of our kind of things like that, especially like our iron or things. You don't want hard water buildup anyway, but I mean, I would want to use distilled water in that too, but that seems like a lot of distilled water if I had to fill that thing up. But like I said, I don't steam clean very often. But again, I have to say, like, we're not cleaning up chicken, we're not cleaning up like any of that nasty stuff. So our cleanups are fruits and veggies and sometimes potatoes here and there. So that's the only stuff we're cleaning up.
Well, we deal here with you could almost call the cat incontinent because he does not go on the litter box. So yeah, those are daily cleanups. And there I have an enzyme spray to to not have it smell. So it takes care of the kitty urine. But it's still a pretty safe cleaner, and it's always only in one spot, so that makes it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wasn't there something else that washing? Because before I had many cats in my house, and I had these were ferals. They peed on my couch every day. So on the couch, on the recliners, I had plastic, and then I had sheets over it, and I needed to wash all those sheets every day. So people are always, oh, you have to do that with bleach, and no, only do it with vinegar, and there's no smell. So that was a no chemical way of cleaning that too, and it works.
Yep, it's awesome to hear. Well, I'm very happy with this show today. And if anyone has any questions for Miss Joanne, are you on Facebook or anything like that? Do we have your contact information in the show notes, Toni?
Well,
Um,
I was out to the Facebook at some point in the past, and now for me to come back, they would like me to show proof of my identity, and I will not do that. So to get back to the account that I had, so I might be able to open another account sometime, but I did not get around to that, not yet.
Well, I know we would
another
definitely love to stay in contact with you.
I'm on Telegram. Is it Miss Joanne? I'm not sure. I'll figure it out, and we'll find a way
Hey,
for anyone who
guys.
would like to reach me.
Okay, guys, did you forget? We now have the Garden of Eden, or gardenofeden.social,
Mhm.
where we can all connect. And I am even going to add live chat to it, same as on WhatsApp and Telegram. And that would be the place that, and I would love to see all you guys there. That could be the place where we can all connect, instead of, you have to go to Telegram or to Facebook or Messenger or WhatsApp or MeWe even. And so please do connect on gardenofeden.social. Messages work beautifully there. So I hope to see you all there. We had some issues. I was like, shall I talk about this or not? But the day it opened, the site was attacked and hacked. So had to fix that, put new, even better security software on it. The day after, it got hacked again. So now we're putting new security on the server itself, and to hopefully stop it, and because nobody could even sign up on the site for a whole day. So it started with a few hiccups, but I think most sites will experience that until they have everything in order and to have the right security system on it. And hackers do get smarter every day to bypass even the latest software that you put on there. But right now, it's all good, and we're moving forward. So, guys, I hope to see you there. We are way over the hour, which is beautifully. We have a lot to talk about always. I hope to see you all next week again, same time on a Thursday, with Sarah and Katie, and especially Miss Joanne. I love you for being here, and I hope we I'll invite you again to the show and have you participate. So thank you all for being here.
right.
Love you all. It was great.
Yes,
Thanks so
thank you,
much.
Miss Joanne, for all your gnosis. We appreciate your time and everything you've shared with us. And we love you all in the chat. And thank you, Katie, for joining. Till next week.